Let me give you an example of what I mean by estimation. All right. If I was to ask, let's see, who lives close to the school? Judah. How far do you live, Judah? Miles. How many miles, feet, whatever? Half a mile, okay. Isaiah, how far do you live, you think? You have any miles? You don't have any miles? Lily, how far do you live? You going to walk? Okay, 15 minutes walk. I was going to say, it doesn't take that long to drive, does it? All right. Gabby. 10 minutes away. You know miles? How many miles? Okay. Okay. Well, usually when we ask somebody, like for example, from where I live from the school, it's probably 7 miles. Okay? Now, is it 7 miles exactly? No. It may be 7.2. It may be 6.8. It may be, 6.75. Okay? But usually when you ask someone to ask someone about distance, they usually estimate it. They'll go about 6 miles, about 7 miles, okay? And so we use estimation a lot. Now, all of you gave me time constraints, how much time it took you. Okay, we can still do that. You notice nobody said 7.25 minutes. Judah did, or, Lily didn't say 14 3/10 of a second. It was all, everything gave us nice, whole, rounded up numbers, okay? And so that's what estimation is. You use it daily. In other words, if you're going to go tell your mother you want to buy a video game, how much do you tell her it costs? Just think of one you might want to buy. $40, okay? In all actuality, that game probably costs what, $39.99? Okay. He didn't say, Mom, I want to buy a video game and it costs $39.99. He said it's about $40. Okay. Now, if it's $34.99, he said about $40, and that means he wants to keep $5 for himself. But he's not going to tell Mom that. Okay. See, look at him turning red. He's done that before. Okay. And he just admitted it on live TV. So YouTube, it'll be all over YouTube. It'll go viral. And no, I'm just joking. It won't go viral. It is on YouTube, though. So, it means a lot of people look at it. A bunch of people look at it. So, we do it every day, okay? If you eat 2.5 cupcakes for breakfast, okay, you may say, I ate 2 cupcakes, or I ate 3 cupcakes, something like that, okay? We don't get into minute detail, okay? Well, that's what rounding and estimation is about, okay? Now, where most people struggle in this lesson is in one part of it. It's not usually with the rounding part, okay? Let's take, for example, let me just do one here. This may not be in your, it's probably not going to be in your thing, that in your book there. Let's say I want to round that number, 0.1256, and that would be 1,256, and what place value is my 6 in? Remember, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So that's 1,256 10,000ths. Okay? You got to remember those stuff. Keep going back and looking at that list and get it memorized. Okay? But if I want to round that number and I want to round it to that place value right there where the 5 is. Okay? Well, what I'm going to do is this. The steps that you have in your book don't tell you to do this. This is just what I do. I circle the number immediately to the right of it. I'm going to use a different color there because I don't want to. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to circle the number immediately to the right. Now that number's circled, I can use these rules. It says, find the place to which you will round. That was the underlying number. If the digit to the right is 5 or greater, increase the rounding place digit by 1. Okay? Is the circled number greater than 5? Yes. That means I'm going to take the 5 and add 1 to it. And what is 5 plus 1? 6. So I have point. I bring down that number. I bring down that number. I bring down this, which is 6, and I am done. 0.126. Okay? You will notice that I did not change that to a 0. Okay? The correct answer to this is 0.126, not 0.1260. If you put the 0, we have to count it wrong. The reason we have to count it wrong is this. If I put that 0 right there, that could mean that I had another number on the other side of it. Okay, in other words, if I had 0.12601 and I told you to round to the 0, okay? If I told you to round to that 0, wouldn't that be this number? In other words, if I look at that number, that's less than 5. If I look at the 1 digit, if I look at this number right here, that's less than 5, so the 0 would stay the same, and I'd have 0.1260. Well, this number and this number are not the same. Now, I'm lenient with this in the first lesson or so, okay, because I know maybe you've been taught to always put zeros, okay, but that's not. I'll give you even a better example. Let's say I had this, 0.236592, and I want to round to that right there. I want to round to the 2. Okay, well that means I take and I circle the 3, and that means that I've got my answer as 0.2, and then you put all those zeros on there like that. We don't do that. Those are not necessary. Okay? Now, I will show you one that it is necessary. 1.95. Let's say I want to round to the 9. Okay? Then I circle this number. So am I going to increase 9 or am I going to let it stay the same? Increase it. So I'm going to take 9 plus 1. What is 9 plus 1? 10. So I got to put a 0 there and put a 1 there, and that makes that 2.0. That case, I have to leave the 0 because that's the place value that I'm rounding to. So I have to leave it. Quade? Huh? We'll take notes in pen. That's okay to do it in pen for notes. Okay? Now he can take it in pen. He's good. All right, so that's 2.0. So that would be the answer to rounding 1.95 to the 10th digit. Now, is it wrong if you do that? Not really, but you really need to try to keep it to the place value you're rounding to. Now, if I had 195,262, and I am rounding to the 9's place value. Okay? Well, that means I take and circle a 5, which means this is 9 plus 1. So that means that's 200,000. So that's 200,000. Okay, and that's your answer. All right. So that's how we round. Okay, that's not where people usually make their mistakes in this section. Where people will make their mistakes in this section is when we talk about estimating addition and subtraction. Okay? for example, 8.39 minus 3.72. Okay, now we are going to estimate, using leading digit rounding. Okay, that's what we're going to do. Whoa, I went too far. Okay, we're going to estimate in addition and subtraction using leading digit rounding. Okay, now what that means is this. What is the first digit in 8.39? What? Just call it out. 8. The leading digit is 8. What is the leading digit in 3.72? 3. So we're going to round both those numbers. So we're going to round 8.39 and we're going to round 3.72. There and there. So we circle the numbers immediately to the right. So what does 8.39 round to? 8 or 9? Is it closer to 8 or is it closer to 8 or is it closer to 9? Tayshawn, what do you think? You got a 50-50 shot here. Is it 8 or 9? No. You guessed on the wrong side. Brittany? 8. It's 8. Here's why. This number right here, is that greater than 5? Or 5 or greater? No. So my marked number stays the same, which means that is 8. Lily, darling? 7. Okay. Now I'm going to round 3.72. Nick, is it 4 or is it 3? 4? Are you sure? Yes. Positive? Yes. Why? All right, because the circle number is 7. Couldn't get him to change his mind. So now there's our rounded digits. Okay? Now we're going to estimate by taking and going 8 minus 4. What is 8 minus 4? 4. Okay? So that's it. That's your answer. Now, that is not what 8.39 minus 3.72 is. That is what the estimate of that is. So if you were subtracting these, and let's say you made a mistake and accidentally added them, okay? And let's say you got like, 12.04. Okay, well, you would know that that was wrong because your estimate is 4. So when you subtract those two numbers, you need to come up with something pretty close to 4. All right? That's why we use estimation. All right? Now, let's look at another one. 874.31 minus 426.95. All right? I want you to estimate that one. When you have the answer, raise your hand. Estimate to the leading digit. Estimate it to the leading digit. Here we go. Here's where you're making your mistake. We're estimating to the leading digit, okay, which is those. Most of you did that right, okay? No testifying, please. Now, as I look at the number beside it, here's where you've messed up, okay? This means I increase that by 1, which that's what y'all are getting, but you're leaving off those 2 zeros. This is hundredths. Those zeros have to come down because they are in front of the decimal, not behind it. Okay? This comes down and is 4. 2 becomes 0, 6 becomes 0. 900 minus 400, 500. So that's your estimate using leading digit rounding. Okay? So that's something that, sometimes you mess up on. Okay? 500 is what you should have gotten there. Okay? Now, all right. Now, I want you to turn the page, and I want you to look at number 22. Look at number 22. Don't make this harder than it is. Look at 22 and estimate the answer using leading digit estimation. Okay? Your book does not cover leading digit estimation. Okay? Your book covers front-end estimation and then whole number rounding estimation. I just do leading digit because it's the easiest. Okay? And right now, that's what you need to understand. We'll learn the other two as the year goes on. We'll talk more about the other two. Okay? So do number 22 using leading digit estimation. Okay? Also, in the homework this evening, or when you get it done, you do not have to list the method you use for estimation. Okay? All you got to do is write the answer. Well, show your work, obviously, but you don't have to say, I use leading digit, I use front-end estimation. You don't have to do that. When you have the answer, raise your hand. Number 22. You're on. No. Okay, good. Yeah. What's behind it? That number. What's behind it? Close, and that's not necessarily wrong, but what's the front digit? You're real close. That's what you would naturally do. Yes, Sophia. You want to round it to that digit. So what is it? You just look at that one. Yeah. Yeah, so what would you do to the 7? So just bring it down. You don't know. You don't have to put that back there. All right, let's look at it because we're running out of time. You'll know if you got the right answer. Okay? So we have the leading digits are those 3. The 6, the 1, and the 7. Okay? When you naturally see this, you're very tempted to do that one to the same one, and you could, and it would not necessarily be wrong. Because here's why. Okay? When they talk about whole number rounding, they talk about, okay, I did that one to the ones place value, so I'm going to do that one to the ones place value. Either one of those is okay. Okay? That's fine if you did it that way. I'm just saying leading digit because that's the easiest way, and I'll do both of them. Okay? This one would become a 7. This one would stay a 1, but it would be 10. Okay? This one would come and be a 7, and that would equal 24. The other way, which is acceptable with leading digit, is this way. The other way would be this. These two still stay 7, but this one is 12. That's okay as well, which is 26. Okay? The reason we did that is because we're rounding to this, this, and this. Those are the ones place values. They're not the leading digit. Okay? So leading digit means you take the first digit of every single number and round it to it. Okay? Yes, Lily darling. They're the same estimation. It's 2. the way we did it here and the way we did it here are very similar, and they can be called the same type of estimation. Because the reason they're the same, they're not the same in the sense of you get the same answer, but I will accept either answer in our estimation process. Because estimating is simply that. Depending which form you use in estimation, you can get totally different answers. But they're within like those two, 24 and 26. Okay? So that's why I say they're the same in the sense of they're okay to use. Okay? Now, your homework. Your homework is 1 point. This is 4. Okay? Y'all? Yes? No, I prefer you to start on the next sheet. Unless there's just if you just used one line, then yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. But I may have you turn in, yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine right there. Okay? 1 through 14, and then we're going 19 through 22, and then we're going 27 through 30. 1 through 14, 19 through 22, 27 through 30. You ought to consider yourselves fortunate because last year I had just given you 1 through 30. Okay, so I've cut some problems out. Do we have any time? You got 5 minutes. What's it say on the board, on the screen? No, you do 1 through 14. This is 1.4. Then you do 1 through 14, 19 through 22, 27 through 30. Yes, Sophia.